Hello and a very warm welcome. You are watching Gravitas. I'm Molly Gambhir. Let's get started. Our top focus tonight on Gravitas. West Asia is witnessing a dangerous escalation. As Iran and the US launch attacks and the Strait of Hormuz tensions see a sharp rise, we are getting you the bigger picture and what these developments really mean for the region. Also on the show for you tonight, telling you all about how one of Russia's most symbolic military spectacles under the shadow of war is sending out a crucial message. Getting you the latest from West Bengal and Tamil Nadu, Suvendu Adhikari will be sworn in as the West Bengal Chief Minister. In Tamil Nadu, actor turned politician Vijay set to be sworn as Chief Minister. All this and more coming up. West Asia is witnessing a sharp and dangerous escalation as tensions between the United States and Iran threaten to push the two countries closer to a full-scale direct military confrontation all over again. Fresh clashes broke out in the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. military said American forces fired on and disabled two Iranian-flagged tankers. These vessels allegedly tried to break the U.S. blockade on Iran's ports. Washington has now stopped 4 ships in total since the U.S. blockade has been in place. In response to what's been happening, Tehran issued a warning, meanwhile, saying that the Iranian armed forces are fully prepared to respond to any further aggression in the Strait of Hormuz.
The action carried out last night was both a blatant violation of international law and the United Nations Charter, as well as a violation of the ceasefire, and it was not the first time either. Of course, as you are aware, the country's defenders responded with full force, struck them hard and repelled their aggression. Therefore, while we are nominally in a state of ceasefire, our armed forces remain fully prepared and are monitoring the situation closely, wherever necessary, with full force.
This latest episode of the fighting coming just a day after the U.S. military accused the Iranian forces of launching missiles, drones, fast attack boats towards 3 American destroyers. In fact, these were operating near the Strait of Hormuz, reportedly. The U.S. Central Command has said none of the warships were hit. American forces say they responded with self-defense strikes and targeted Iranian military infrastructure. According to Washington, the strikes hit missile and drone launch sites, command centers, surveillance positions that were used to track U.S. naval movements in the region. In fact, Iran presenting a very different version of events. The IRGC claiming its Navy had carried out a large-scale retaliatory operation against the American destroyers. They claim it was done after fresh provocation by the United States. And Tehran said the first was an alleged US attack on an Iranian oil tanker on Wednesday. The second provocation, according to Iran, was the entry of American warships towards Hormuz. They claim the warships tried to enter the strategic waters despite warnings. And the IRGC claims they used anti-ship ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and drones in the operation, and even alleged that the US destroyers suffered significant damage. Trump has rejected those claims. Trump said there was no damage to the 3 destroyers and claimed American forces had destroyed several Iranian small boats while intercepting the missiles fired at the ships. He also said the US Navy had successfully moved through the strait and would continue enforcing its naval blockade on Iran. But the crisis is now expanding beyond military exchanges. Iran is also moving to assert greater control over Hormuz. Tehran has announced a new system requiring all ships passing through the strait to submit detailed information to a newly created body called the Persian Gulf Strait Authority. The new rules basically require vessels to disclose ownership details, crew nationalities, cargo information, and destinations before entering the waterway. This is Iran's crucial attempt to formalize its control over the Strait of Hormuz, so that's significant. And the US has strongly opposed it. The US Secretary of State has said it is unacceptable that Tehran is trying to normalize the right to control an international waterway. Here's what he said.
Iran now claims that they have a right to control an international waterway. They claim that they have a right to control it. What is the world going to do about that? Is the world going to accept that Iran now controls an international waterway? Because if the world is prepared to accept that, then be ready. Because there's like 10 other countries that are going to start doing the same thing in their international waterways, in international waterways near their countries. That's an unacceptable thing that they're trying to normalize.
Meanwhile, diplomatic efforts to prevent a wider conflict appear to be struggling. The US Secretary of State has said Washington is expecting a response from Iran to the 14-point peace proposal by today. With the ceasefire holding extremely tenuously, these developments could lead to a potential collapse as well. Adding to the global concern, China in the latest has confirmed that an oil products tanker carrying a Chinese crew also came under attack in the Strait of Hormuz. Beijing has expressed serious concern over the growing risks to commercial shipping and energy supplies in the region. And Iran has also seized the oil tanker Ocean Koi, remember, in the Gulf of Oman. Iranian state media claimed the Barbados-flagged tanker was carrying Iranian oil and was attempting to disrupt the country's exports. The vessel, which has been under US sanctions since February, has now been escorted to Iran's southern coast and handed over to judicial authorities. And as the standoff deepens across the Gulf, fears are also mounting that the Strait of Hormuz, which is already the epicenter in a way when it comes to these tensions, could further become the main battleground if the fragile ceasefire collapses. America, meanwhile, is rearming its Gulf allies on a massive scale, even as its own missile stockpiles remain under pressure after the Iran war. The US has now approved a staggering $25.8 billion weapons push for Gulf allies and Israel. But behind the giant deal also is a growing problem. America can sell missiles faster than it can actually build them. Take a look.
The war may have slowed, but the missile race has not. Across West Asia, governments are preparing for the next round of conflict, even as ceasefires hold for now. Military planners are watching the skies. Defense systems are being upgraded. Interceptor missiles are becoming the most valuable weapons in the region. And Washington is moving fast. The Trump administration has approved weapons packages worth $25.8 billion for allies including Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, the United Arab Emirates and Israel. The deals mainly include Patriot interceptor missiles designed to counter missiles and drone attacks. Qatar is among the biggest buyers, ordering $4 billion worth of interceptor missiles, which equates to about 1,000 units. It would take years to produce those amounts, but there is one major complication. The US military has used more than 1,300 Patriot interceptor missiles, putting a significant dent into global American stockpiles. American defense factories are already under strain after months of heavy weapons use during the Iran conflict. Patriot interceptors, THAAD systems, and long-range strike missiles were consumed at wartime speed. According to defense analysts, some of the missiles used in the Iran war could take between 3 and 5 years to fully replace. This essentially means that America is simultaneously trying to arm allies abroad while rebuilding its own depleted arsenal at home. Washington calls it deterrence. Defense companies call it demand. But critics see something more dangerous unfolding. A world entering an era where wars may be fought not just by military strength, but by who can manufacture missiles the fastest. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
Shifting focus now, Moscow is preparing for one of its most symbolic military spectacles under the shadow of war, drone threats, and rising global tensions. As Russia marks Victory Day, attention is turning towards one of the most powerful weapons in its arsenal, the missile nicknamed the Doomsday Missile by Western analysts. Take a look.
The skies over Moscow are locked down. Security is tightening. Anti-drone units are on standby. Military jets fly over Moscow for Victory Day parade rehearsal. Across Russia, preparations are underway for the annual parade commemorating Soviet Union's victory over Nazi Germany in World War II. The parade is being held without military hardware for the first time in almost 2 decades because of fears of long-range attack by Ukrainian drones. But this year, another symbol of military power, the RS-28 Sarmat, also known as Saturn II, is all set to be unveiled. Russian military is all set to test fire this long-range nuclear-capable weapon. This intercontinental ballistic missile is one of the most powerful in the world, capable of carrying multiple nuclear warheads and hitting targets across vast distances. Weighing over 200 tons, the missile has a range of 10,000 to 18,000 km and can fly at a terrifying speed of 26,000 km per hour. The nuclear-capable missile can also evade most modern anti-missile defense systems. Its sheer scale has made it one of the most closely watched weapons in the world. The timing is everything. Russia is gearing up for the 81st anniversary of the victory over Nazi Germany. The Victory Day parade remains the definitive symbol of Russian military heritage and resolve. Despite reports of a dialed-down spectacle due to security concerns, the test of Sarmat would be the ultimate showstopper. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Shifting focus, there have been many twists and turns in Tamil Nadu, and the situation has seen many thrillers turned political developments, and an actor turned politician is at the cusp of becoming the chief minister of the southern Indian state. The TVK chief, Vijay, has met the governor, and he has claimed to form the government. This was, remember, the third meeting between the two since TVK won the assembly elections and got those huge numbers. Vijay has now claimed to secure majority to form government in the state after about 4 days of chaos. Right now, Vijay has the backing of 121 MLAs. The left, IUML, VCK have extended support to Vijay's TVK. This means he has now crossed the magic figure of 118. Those numbers on your screen now. And celebrations erupted in Chennai. Meanwhile, TVK supporters celebrating the developments. So it has been a mega political blockbuster debut for Vijay. And on Wednesday and Thursday, remember, the governor had earlier declined to invite Vijay to form the government, citing lack of majority. There were also protests and sharp criticism from opposition parties who accused the centre of attempting to delay government formation. That's what they alleged. Vijay led the TVK to that stunning performance in the assembly elections, winning 108 seats in his debut election, but also falling short of that majority mark. The actor-turned-politician, remember, has will now in fact be sworn in the state. The hung verdict that also triggered hectic negotiations for the TVK, with the Congress extending support to the Vijay-led party. The Congress's move also sparked a major fallout with the DMK. Meanwhile, Subhendu Adhikari is set to become the next chief minister of West Bengal. He has been made the leader of the BJP legislative party in the state, paving the way for him to assume the chief ministership. The state's governor has dissolved the state assembly at the end of his 5-year term on Thursday. And the move also effectively removes Mamata Banerjee as the state's chief minister, who, remember, earlier announced that she would not be handing over her resignation as chief minister. And the development also comes as the BJP confirmed that the new government will be sworn in on the 9th of May, 2 days after the term of the outgoing assembly expires. Meanwhile, the Union Home Minister has been in West Bengal to attend crucial meetings with the newly elected MLAs of the BJP. Upon his arrival there, the Home Minister offered prayers as well at the temple in Kolkata. He also chaired a meeting to decide the legislative leader and consequently the chief minister of the state. According to him, there was only one name he could choose.
आप लोगों के विश्वास के कारण आज के उत्सव मूर्ति और बंगाल के भावी मुख्यमंत्री श्रीमान शुभेंदु अधिकारी जी
Subhendu Adhikari is set to become the state's next chief minister. He joined the BJP in 2020, remember, and has taken the lead in fighting the TMC. He beat the TMC chief and former chief minister Mamata Banerjee from the Nandigram constituency in the 2021 state elections. And this time, remember, it was a double victory for him as he also defeated her from the other constituency. Earlier, Mamata Banerjee had declared that she would not follow the convention of going to the governor to hand over her resignation despite losing the election. However, in the absence of her formal resignation, there was no opportunity for the governor to ask her to continue as the caretaker chief minister. And this prompted the governor to use his powers under Clause 2 of Article 174 of the Constitution of India. The inauguration is set to take place at Kolkata's iconic Brigade Parade grounds, where preparations have been underway for the swearing-in ceremony. And ahead of the ceremony, roads near the ground have been decked up with cutouts of Prime Minister Modi. All necessary administrative meetings are being held and tight security arrangements have been put in place for the grand occasion. Along with the Prime Minister, the Union Home Minister, senior BJP leaders, chief ministers from other states are expected to attend the ceremony. The swearing-in of West Bengal's next chief minister will be taking place on the 9th of May, and according to the Bengali calendar, that is the birth anniversary of Rabindranath Tagore. According to the English calendar, his birthday falls on May 7, but the Bengali calendar puts it on the 25th of the month of Boishakh, which is May 9 this year. And for more on this, our correspondent Shreyasi Ganguly getting us this report from Kolkata. Take a look.
BJP is going to form its first government here in West Bengal tomorrow. Subhendu Adhikari has been selected as the first chief minister of BJP's government, and tomorrow he will take oath at Brigade Parade ground in front of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Home Minister Amit Shah. Subhendu Adhikari, once a very senior leader of Trinamool Congress, was the minister of Trinamool government and very influential TMC leader. But before 2021 election, he left Trinamool and joined BJP. From 2021 to 2026, before election, he was the leader of opposition. And this time, during the 2026 election, assembly election, he defeated Mamata Banerjee from Bhawanipur. Today, he came here at Lok Bhavan, formerly known as Raj Bhavan, and placed his demand for formation of government to the governor.
All right, before we go on any further, a quick look at what else is lined up for you on the show tonight. It's a massive setback for Donald Trump. We tell you what the court's latest ruling on tariffs means. A unique way adopted by Mysuru to tackle public urination. We tell you all about it, all this and more coming up. It's been a rather tough day for the British Prime Minister and his Labour Party, to say the least. Counting is underway for the local body polls in England, remember, where over 5,000 seats across 136 local authorities are up for grabs. And after counting in 80 councils, Starmer and his Labour Party have won just 419 council seats. Meanwhile, Labour has already lost more than 550 of the seats that it was defending. This has been a major drubbing for Starmer, but the British Prime Minister says he will not resign.
No, I'm not going to walk away and plunge the country into chaos. We were elected to deal with these challenges, and that's what we will do.
Labour's loss has mostly been Reform's gain. The party led by Farage has surged ahead in the English local body polls. It has picked up 730 seats after counting in 80 councils, and there are still over 50 to go. Before these elections, Reform UK had just 2 council seats.
But I think overall what's happened is a truly historic shift in British politics. We've been so used to thinking about politics in terms of left and right, and yet what Reform are able to do is to win in areas that have always been conservative, but equally, we're proving in a big way we can win in areas that Labour have dominated, frankly, since the end of World War I.
Farage also took a dig at Starmer, referring to all the rumours about him stepping down.
When you see the full results in the Red Wall, there'll be a rebellion. Personally, I'd be very sad to see the Prime Minister go. I would be very, very sad indeed. He's the greatest asset we've got.
While there were already rumblings against Starmer's leadership in the run-up to these elections, the abysmal results are likely to result in stronger internal opposition to the Prime Minister. So that's a significant implication as well. Meanwhile, the other major loser in these elections is the Conservative Party. They lost 330 council seats they were defending, and they have won 428. They currently are third in terms of overall seats, behind Reform UK and the Liberal Democrats. All other parties have so far made gains at the expense of the Tories and the Labour. Is this the end of the traditional two-party system in the UK is also the big question. Have Farage and his Reform Party really created a historic shift in the way Britain votes? Or can the UK really return to the old two-party system if Starmer gets the axe, perhaps? In a fresh setback for US President Donald Trump's signature economic policy, a federal court struck down the 10% worldwide tariffs imposed by him earlier this year. And this comes just a week before he is due to discuss trade ties with his Chinese counterpart. In a 2-1 ruling, the US Court of International Trade held the 10% tariffs to be illegal. Its order came on a suit filed by the state of Washington and 2 small businesses. They basically argued that the new tariffs were an attempt to sidestep US Supreme Court's decision to strike down global tariffs imposed in 2025. According to the court, the Trump administration lacked justification to enact tariffs under Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1974. Noting that there was no large and serious balance of payments crisis. This provision basically allows a president to impose up to 15% tariffs across all imports without getting congressional approval, if certain criteria are met. Meanwhile, Trump blamed the verdict on what he described as 2 radical left judges. As per reports, the US government is likely to challenge this verdict. However, the court issued an important caveat. Its relief will be applicable only to 3 petitioners and not the other importers. Rejecting a request from a group of 24 other states, the judges ruled, I'm quoting from the verdict, private plaintiffs make no specific arguments for a universal injunction. Cost to one plaintiff is not an appropriate basis for the imposition of a universal injunction. Now, this verdict also coming at a crucial juncture when the American economy is on shaky ground. As per data released by the US Bureau of Economic Analysis, the country's national debt is now larger than the economy as a whole, hitting levels last seen in 1946. As of March 31, the total debt held by American public is $31.27 trillion US dollars, whereas America's GDP stands at $31.22 trillion US dollars. This means that national debt as a percentage of the GDP stands at 100.2%. The US has also started facilitating refunds of over $166 billion US dollars, which it earned from tariffs after the Supreme Court verdict. Now, the tariff saga dates back to April last year, remember, when Trump invoked the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to impose a baseline duty of 10% on most foreign imports. Subsequently, he claimed that the US is earning $2 billion US dollars per day from tariffs. In July 2025, meanwhile, he further enhanced tariffs on multiple countries, including Canada, Brazil, India, Taiwan. However, Trump faced a big blow in February this year when the US Supreme Court struck down his global tariffs. However, the US president was ready with a plan B. On the very same day of the verdict, he used the Trade Act of 1974 to levy a flat 10% tariff on all countries for a period of 150 days. Amid all of this, the US president mounted pressure on the European Union. In a telephonic conversation, he warned the EU president that tariffs on European nations will jump to much higher levels unless EU cuts tariffs on US goods to zero by July 4. Earlier, Trump, remember, threatened to increase tariffs on EU cars and trucks from 15% to 25% this week. On to China, which has linked a growing youth trend to what it calls a foreign campaign to weaken the country from within. It's a major allegation, a major warning, in fact. China's Ministry of State Security claims outside forces are using social media to convince young Chinese citizens that hard work is meaningless and success is impossible. Not just that, Beijing says the campaign aims to break the spirit of China's youth, especially at a time when the country is battling economic pressure, rising unemployment, and growing frustration, reportedly, among young workers. So China's Ministry of State Security, which is the country's top anti-espionage agency, basically, in a statement posted on its official social media account, has accused what it called anti-China forces of spreading negative ideas, like lying flat to fuel social anxiety. The phrase basically means taking a break from relentless work. The phrase lying flat became popular on Chinese social media way back in the year 2021. During a period of economic slowdown related to COVID-19 disruptions, many young people used the term to protest China's intense 996 work culture, a number that basically symbolized working from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week. China's president has also publicly warned against the trend in 2021. A national campaign soon followed, with local governments naming and shaming grassroots officials who were allegedly lying flat in a bid to resolve the issue. But then concern also appears to have only grown as unemployment across the country continues to rise. China's urban unemployment rate climbed to 5.4% last month, while unemployment among 16 to 24-year-olds, excluding students, touched 16.9%. A 4-month high. Competition for government jobs has also intensified, with a record 2.8 million applicants competing for just around 38,000 civil service posts last year. The Chinese ministry alleged that foreign-backed organizations funded anti-China media outlets and think tanks to portray hard-working Chinese citizens as victims of exploitation. It also claimed influencers received support to promote slogans like "lying flat is justice" and "anti-overwork is anti-exploitation," quote-unquote. Not just that, the Chinese ministry has not named any country or organization as such, and instead urged citizens to contribute towards national development, further calling on people to work in scientific research, serve local communities, and even launch businesses in rural areas. There is a growing, disturbing menace on the prowl, targeting school children. In the UK, criminals are reportedly manipulating pictures found on school websites and social media to create sexually explicit images, triggering serious concern and warnings. In fact, child safety experts and the UK's National Crime Agency reportedly warning that criminals are using AI to manipulate photos of children and then demand cash not to publish them. But what's the way out? Experts reportedly say, for example, UK schools should remove pictures of students' faces from their websites and social media accounts. This, of course, in an attempt to fight this menace. Not just that, they also recommend that educational institutions should remove identifiable pictures of children from their websites and social media accounts, or consider not using them at all. Let's also tell you about a specific case that unfolded. According to the Internet Watch Foundation, reportedly a blackmail attempt was carried out recently involving a UK secondary school after criminals used the institution's website or social media accounts to take photos of school children and then using AI tools, turning them into child sexual abuse material. The blackmailers reportedly sent the images to the school and threatened to publish them online if they did not receive money. The rise in the amount of AI-generated child sexual abuse material found online, according to a safety watchdog, the Internet Watch Foundation, it rose by 14% last year, with the majority of videos showing the most extreme type of content. According to IWF, AI child sexual abuse material is widespread and growing. And according to it, advances in AI have driven the convergence of tools that previously required separate capabilities. Single applications can now generate abusive imagery with minimal effort, removing the need for technical expertise and significantly lowering barriers to entry. Also, the volume and severity of AI imagery, according to it, has increased exponentially due to the availability and ease of the tools. Intrigued by accounts of flying saucers, are you? Are aliens for real is the big question. As the mystery deepens over these ever-nagging questions, the Trump administration has released 162 files pertaining to UFOs, putting on record something which is seldom talked about. The first batch of declassified documents containing multiple sources, from newspaper articles to videos from 1947 onwards. That's not even all. Transcripts of crewed flights from NASA have also added to the intrigue. Let's just go back to 1966. Documents refer to a flying saucer convention being conducted in the US. The event saw speakers not just detailing their alleged experiences with spacecraft from other planets, but also claimed to share photographic evidence of flying saucers. UFO sightings were also covered in the media. For instance, a newspaper named London Free Press featured an article claiming that UFOs were tracked briefly on radar by the US Air Force Base in Michigan. In fact, the same paper carried a piece talking about 6 teenagers being chased by UFOs in a public park near Denver. While the FBI did not give any weightage to claims of UFO sightings over the years, one letter has come into the spotlight. Joe Thorne, who served as Princeton police chief for 22 years, wrote to the then FBI chief in 1966, claiming to have seen 2 UFOs. Did you know that an official probe into UFOs was conducted by none other than the US Air Force? Designated as Project Blue Book, it was terminated on December 17, 1969, after finding no evidence of UFOs or a national security threat. But its internal communication will startle you. It listed year-wise UFO sighting data from 1947 to 1969, and as per the document, a total of over 12,000 UFO sightings were reported in this period, 12,618 to be precise. The documents also feature astronaut Frank Borman's testimony. During the flight of the Gemini 7 mission in 1965, He reported to NASA the sighting of an unidentified object, which he referred to as a bogey. A NASA photo from the Apollo 17 mission in 1972 has also garnered attention. It shows 3 dots in a triangular formation, as you can see, with preliminary analysis indicating it could be a physical object. On to 2013. An 8-pointed star with arms of alternating length is visible in the footage submitted by CENTCOM, which was captured by an infrared sensor. One document also detailing an FBI interview of 2023 with someone identified as a drone pilot who reported seeing a linear object with a light bright enough to see bands within the light in the sky. In fact, just have a look at another visual provided by the US Indo-Pacific Command. It resembles a football-shaped body with 3 radial projections. Additionally, the Department of Army gave footage this year itself, which gained traction. It covers 2 distinct objects. The FBI also furnished multiple images of a dark structured object, which has given rise to further speculation. Now, the Pentagon has made it clear that the released material are unresolved cases, implying that the government is unable to make a definitive determination of the observed phenomena. So it is up to the people's wisdom to judge whether aliens exist. However, more files expecting to be released on a rolling basis, it's apparent that the UFO mystery is unlikely to be solved anytime soon. Is Instagram one of your go-to platforms for direct messaging? Well, it seems your chats may no longer be private after Meta has rolled back a key feature. An update made to its terms and conditions in the month of March has now come to the fore. Meta reportedly stated end-to-end encrypted messaging on Instagram will no longer be supported after the 8th of May. Now, this is considered as the most secure form of online messaging in a way, allowing only the sender and the recipient to view messages. And this also comes at a time when governments around the world are increasingly pushing for access to this private data for law enforcement purposes. Incidentally, Meta has taken a U-turn on its own position. Way back in 2019, it pledged to introduce end-to-end encryption messaging, saying that the future is private. 4 years later, it rolled out this feature but made it optional on Instagram. On its part, the Mark Zuckerberg-led firm has justified its decision reportedly, citing that very few users were opting in to use the feature. What does this mean for you really? Meta reportedly will now be able to access all content of your direct messages, including images, videos, voice notes. While child protection groups welcomed the move, privacy campaigners are perceiving this as a step backwards. Concerns have also been voiced over social media platforms monetizing people's communication allegedly for targeted advertising. As of now, end-to-end encryption is the default option on platforms like Signal, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, and also Google Messages reportedly. Now, the data privacy debate also extends to more than just direct messages. Let's take the example of cookie pop-up banners on websites that you must be coming across. While clicking yes might be the default option in some cases, there's also greater implication. Cookies are small files used by websites to store data that the site views as important in helping them deliver the best possible user experience. And advertisers use them as a primary tool to track online activity in order to target the users with specific ads. And this also raises a crucial question. Are users also being taken for a ride by platforms in absence of informed consent? In this context, the EU expressed intent last year to change its rules to slash the cookie pop-up banners on websites. while prioritizing data privacy.
I think we can all agree that we have spent too much of our time accepting or rejecting cookies every time we visit on our websites. Consumers need to make informed choices. It's very important, not just click through blindly, so that they can really reach also the content that they want.
Today, the world is celebrating a towering figure in natural history of broadcasting and other sectors for nearly 8 decades, transforming the way humanity sees the planet, bringing breathtaking wildlife, fragile ecosystems, and urgent warnings about climate change into homes around the world. As one of the most influential broadcasters in TV history marks a century of life, we are looking back at his extraordinary journey.
A century old and yet still the voice of the planet. David Attenborough today celebrates his 100th birthday, a milestone achieved by fewer than 0.03% of people alive, born in 1926. The same year as Queen Elizabeth II, Attenborough has become one of the most recognized and respected broadcasters in history. Through landmark documentaries like Planet Earth, Blue Planet, and Life on Earth, he transformed natural history filmmaking and reshaped the world's understanding of wildlife and biodiversity. For generations of viewers, Attenborough's storytelling brought the most remote corners of the Earth into living rooms worldwide. From his unforgettable encounter with mountain gorillas in Rwanda, to journeys across deserts, oceans, rainforests, and polar ice caps, his work inspired awe and curiosity about the natural world. A broadcasting career. Spanning nearly 80 years, he became the only person to win BAFTA awards across black and white, color, HD, and 3D programming. Even at an age when most have long retired, Attenborough continued exploring the planet with astonishing energy. In 2015, when he was 89, he descended nearly 1,000 feet in a submersible off the Australian coast to film the Great Barrier Reef. He often described his remarkable longevity as sheer darn luck. Scientists across the world have immortalized Attenborough's contribution to science and conservation by naming more than 50 species after him. At the age of 100, David Attenborough remains far more than a broadcaster. He is a historian of life on Earth, a witness to the planet's greatest wonders, and one of humanity's strongest voices for protecting the natural world.
From brain gummies to capsules promising mental clarity, millions around the world buy supplements in the hope of boosting their memory. But researchers say the science behind many of these products remains weak, inconsistent, and in some cases driven more by marketing than actual medicine. According to recent surveys, about 1 in 5 adults over 50 take supplements especially for memory or focus. And the global supplement market is expected to increase from $517 billion in 2025 to more than $862 billion by 2033. But unlike prescription drugs, experts also warn these products do not go through large-scale clinical trials before reaching the store shelves. For example, the US Food and Drug Administration, they say steps in after products are already sold. A Harvard Medical School professor said companies often blur the line between disease research and everyday brain enhancement, even when proof in healthy adults is missing, according to them, allegedly. Some studies have also shown small or mixed benefits. A Harvard-led Cosmos trial involving more than 2,200 people found adults over 60 taking daily multivitamins performed modestly better on memory tests over 2 to 3 years, while a small 40% placebo-controlled study also reported improvements in memory and attention, reportedly. Researchers stress the evidence remains uneven and limited by small sample sizes. Experts say placebo effects may explain many reported improvements, and researchers say the most reliable ways to protect the brain are quite simple: exercising, sleeping adequately, keeping strong social connections as well. Switching gears, the BCCI has issued a reminder to the 10 IPL franchises after multiple disciplinary breaches during the ongoing season. The BCCI has warned of honey traps as well as unauthorized entry in the players' hotel rooms. There have been a number of incidents that have been controversial this season. Rajasthan Royals manager was using a phone allegedly inside the dugout, which is a breach of the IPL's anti-corruption laws. Royal skipper Rayan Parag was also fined. His offence was vaping inside the dressing room, while Punjab Kings spinner also appeared to be smoking an e-cigarette inside an aircraft. Now, the BCCI secretary has issued a detailed advisory to all the 10 franchises. In the letter, he wrote, I'm quoting, "It has come to the attention of the BCCI that certain incidents of misconduct and protocol violation have occurred involving players and support staff. These incidents, if left unaddressed, carry the potential to cause significant reputational harm to the tournament." The franchise concerned and the BCCI as the governing body, they may further expose individuals and franchises to legal liability and security risks of serious nature, end quote. Let's also take a quick look at the key directives issued to the 10 franchises. There is a strict ban on unauthorized visitors in players' rooms, and written approval from the team manager is mandatory for any person not part of the squad or support staff. There is also a honey trap warning that has been issued with regards to the integrity protocols. The BCCI has banned owners from interacting with the players while a match is on. This includes approaching or hugging any player during the game. Vaping and e-cigarettes are strictly banned at all venues, including dressing rooms, dugouts, practice areas, while the BCCI task force is allowed to conduct unannounced hotel inspections to ensure compliance with these SOPs. The BCCI also warned that any breach of these rules will result in severe financial penalties for the individual and the franchise, while there is also the possibility of suspension of the player or staff for the entire season, reportedly. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of Gravitas Tonight. This is me, Molly Gampiri, signing off. Thanks very much for watching.
On Wings this week, we show how Leh in India's north received the sacred Piprawa relics of Lord Buddha for the first time. We also look at one of Asia's largest rose gardens in Ooty. And festivals worldwide, only on WION. World is One.
On Inside South Asia this week, from surprising upsets to sweeping mandates, the latest assembly poll results have redrawn India's electoral map. As the oil supply disruption continues worldwide, the use of EVs surges in Nepal, a rapid shift from oil to electric vehicles. Habitat loss, poaching, and climate change. Bangladesh's tiger conservation efforts in the Sundarbans take a hit. All of this and much more with Neek Kripa on Inside South Asia.
In this rapidly changing world, is your health keeping pace? Best practices and breakthroughs busting the hype with real insights. The timeless power of yoga and ancient healing. Good food, good mood. Small steps, big impact. Your health matters. Only on WION World is One. Because nothing matters more. As Mortal Kombat 2 hits the big screen, we look at all the films inspired by video games. Know all about concerts that have made Copacabana Beach a global stage. And get a quick roundup of Met Gala 2026. All this and much more with me, Rhythm Sharma, on WION Club at these times.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
Giant telescopes scanning the cosmos. Air taxis that could change city travel. AI smart glasses helping visually impaired people. And a futuristic city powered by robots and self-driving